Bro, let me tell you something. You can ask Diego Lima. After I won my last fight by decision, I was so mad walking back there. 'Cause I was like, bro, They was like, what's wrong? I was like, I didn't get a finish. He was like, no, let's get this win. It matters about getting these wins. But I'm like, man, in my head is so, it kind of messes up fighters also because they're searching for the finish all the time in their fights. It could be a good thing, it also could be a bad thing, you know what I'm saying? But everybody's stuck on finishes and everything. But when you go to the contender series, the goal is to get a finish. So it's kind of like, it's crazy.
Is there no one else? Is there no one else?
Ready? Rolling? Ready to roll? All right. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I got two American top team fighters here today. We got ourselves Bimysola, correct?
Yes, sir.
I didn't mess it up.
Just call me Bimmy.
Bimmy, yeah. Bimmy and Joel Winters here today. Appreciative they let me come in here and use our little ring as a studio for a little bit. I know people in Coconut Creek, Florida, they don't even let cameras in there. So the fact that I'm in the American Top Team gym, very thankful, appreciative of that. Got a lot of good guys coming up out of here. Got two up-and-coming guys up on the Georgia scene here, and I kind of just want to get into you guys' careers. Mainly who you guys are, how you got into fighting, kind of build the story of how you got to, you guys' points in, your early pro career now. The life of a fighter is not exactly the most normal or the most orthodox, and I feel that you guys have such a unique story to bring to the table when it comes to, just the average person. You have different struggles. Most fighters at your level are working full time plus fighting and training, right? Yeah, I know you get both you guys unified nod, right? They're like, yep, and I knew I was gonna get that, but. This is a question for both of you. Either or can go first. And you guys can just kind of like generalize it, summarize it if you want to, but if you want to go further into it, go ahead. How did you get into MMA? Like, where does this journey start for either of you? Like, what is it that just like, oh, I wanna do this for a living, or I want to do this as a passion?
Let's start off because it's similar for the both of us.
All right, so basically, I started wrestling like 13 years old, and I just started off just wrestling. I didn't even know about MMA for real. And then some guys, Anthony Smith, he used to come and like use me basically to wrestle in the room. And I was just like, yo, what is this? You know what I'm saying? So I was like, this is crazy. Cause getting punched in the face was crazy, but I was like, let me try this out. You know what I'm saying? So I started watching John Jones. And I was like, yo, this and Daniel Cormier. So I was like, these guys wrestled. So I was like, if these guys wrestled first and then they became MMA greats, I was like, I can do the same thing. So basically, that's how I got started, watching those guys and having other older guys being there and just showing me the roots.
High school wrestling, though. Yeah, so did you start as a freshman?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's freshman, and you did it all 4 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing, right? I wrestled for 1 year in 8th grade. I was on the fence about it. Like I certainly liked it, but it's draining, and I didn't know if that was what I wanted to do. Because like you're so young, you try and figure things out, and it was fun, but people are tough, man. And I'm not the biggest guy. I could wrestle 8th and maybe 9th grade, but like once you start getting more competitive, man, it's you got to be built for it. Not saying I can't be built for it, but do you want to be built for it? Do you want to go through it? And it's like, I love the sport. I love going to those day-long meets, but at the same time, I'm like, I think I'd be better as a spectator and commentating and doing that.
That's cool. You thought you got to know that, because some people won't lock in and think that. You know what I'm saying? So
you got to want to be there. Exactly. And for you, how did you, Joel, get into it?
It's a similar story for the most part. I started at combat sports when I was younger, though. I did a little bit of boxing when I was like younger, like elementary, middle school age.
Like your dad got you into that or something?
Yeah, my dad, one of his friends, got me into the boxing gym just to kind of like stay out of trouble a little bit. Yeah. Help with I was a bad kid.
Oh yeah, when you're that young, you gotta get the energy out somewhere.
Yeah, the energy. I was a little rough, like a misfit. So they was like put me into boxing. But then I started wrestling in middle school too. Kind of same type of story as Bimmy though, like just wrestling. Was on a couple like the national teams and stuff. And then I knew Cody from a gym like a club, a local wrestling club, and he got me on to one of the gyms, started doing wrestling here. Same like thing. Was used as a training partner for a little while. I had like always been an MMA fan, but was just used as a training partner, and I was like, nah, this is real. Like I can definitely be good at this too.
So your dad got you into boxing a little bit, and did anyone? You said there were older people that were around you when you started wrestling. Like, was it a parent thing, or was it just like peers around you and stuff like that?
Basically, I used to play football and basketball. Everybody started getting taller and bigger. So I was like, yo, I can't compete. I'm like 5'1", 5'2". I was like, nah, these guys growing up to 6'4", nah, I can't. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I got to find a different sport that's going to, I can be me. You know what I'm saying? So in wrestling was like, it was boxing or wrestling. I was like, I'd rather try I'm wrestling. So that's how I got into it, basically.
Yeah. Shorter guy, definitely go wrestling, because you can be a short guy, but you gotta have that stockiness, that power, that Andy Ruiz kind of power to you, you know.
Exactly. And then basketball, you at least want to be 6 feet.
Yeah,
at least,
you can't
know
be under 6 feet.
It's so
basketball,
hard,
it's
man.
impossible.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the point where I was going with this is, you know, when you guys decided to actually start fighting, right? Whether it be amateur or pro, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, your dad got you into boxing, so I imagine the initial reaction from your parents wasn't like, you want to beat people up for a living, or, you know, like, what was the initial reaction from, like, maybe friends or people that weren't, you know, as accustomed to that type of lifestyle?
Well, no, my mom was definitely still not cool with that at all. Like, I come home with black eyes and everything, and she be like, my baby, the whole thing. But no, my dad, yeah, for sure. But there's still, you know, you give respect from the community, like our peers and stuff, especially when you do it when you're younger, like, oh, he wrestles or boxes or something, like, don't mess with him. So you get that, but then you also get your friends that are like, nah, I want to see. So, you know, it's a bit of both sides, but it's good.
Yeah. And for you, you know, is your parents aren't really like into that scene as much?
My parents hate this.
Really?
Yeah. So they hated I wrestled. Yeah. So they been hated wrestling. So I used to like basically like get from practice to the house like by myself. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, because like they hated it. They hated it so much. They was like, we don't even want to help you, because my parents want me to focus on school. The goal is to be a doctor, a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? Not no MMA fighter. This is crazy. So when I came with the MMA, they thought they lost everything. Everybody calling from back home like, yo, he talking about, what happened to the lawyer? Nah, he be an MMA fighter. They say MMA fighter. What is that? Then they see Usman, Adesanya, so it's kind of creepy.
So you do have like someone you can say, hey, he's doing it. He's from Nigeria.
Kinda.
So yeah, I've seen you rep the Nigerian flag. So are you? What's a percent? Like how much are you?
My mom is born in Nigeria and my dad is from Ivory Coast.
Okay.
Yeah, but I have more connection with my Nigerian side, because my dad doesn't have like a lot of brothers and sisters. He has one sister, and we don't even talk to her. Yeah. And my grandparents, they're like gone, so I never got to talk to them. So I have more on my Nigerian side, so I be with them a lot. So I'm a represent that.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's crazy. I don't know how it is, because you know you see the Usmans, and I wonder how his parents
They probably
or
didn't
family.
like it. Yeah, they probably didn't like it. Like,
because I feel like a lot of people that, it's not just Africa, India, people that come over here, the parents say you need to get the doctor, lawyer job, and they,
because you got to think about it. My cousins over there struggling. They trying to get up too. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm over here playing around in their eyes. Like, they can switch me out with my other cousin out here, Olomide. And you know what I'm saying? Right? He can switch me out, and he come here and be a full surgeon. You know what I'm saying? So that's how they thinking. Like,
that's crazy, man. It's a wild story, but you're still pushing through it. I see that that you want to do it, and you're still going through with it, because it's, when you have like a dream or passion, you know, you've got so many, whether it's what you're dealing with or there's just so many other elements that tell you, hey, you know, this isn't working up, but it's like something that's trying to sway you from the path. Yeah. And I like seeing people not get swayed from the path no matter what BS is in their way. That's very admirable, and I think people resonate with that. So people like to see and hear these type of details, you know, how people get into sport, why they're involved with it. And every time I sit down with someone at a table like this, you know, in a gym like this, I'm like, okay, why are we here? Why are you here? You know, how did you get here? All those types of questions, right? So like, I love this, guys. I love the insight.
Let me say one thing. If you got foreign parents and they trying to hold you back, keep pushing nonstop. Because they can't live your life, you know what I'm saying? You got to live your own life. They won't be here forever, so you got to keep pushing, you know what I'm saying?
Love you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
They do love you. Their circumstances just different, you know. Like I said, my mom wasn't the biggest fan of fighting either, but they'll come around. It's not that they're not a fan of fighting. They just believe there's other things that you could be doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Now, I got a question for you, Bimmy, up on here. You had a very early stage in your career. where if you plan to take MMA seriously as a professional, you'll begin to evolve as a fighter, as a martial artist, and improve in the many arts that you have to know. Seeing that your first win of your pro career was a submission, do you lean more towards BJJ? You already got the wrestling background. Are you more of a submission guy, or you think you want to use your power more in the future?
I'm trying to be all around. I'm not trying to be no submission guys, no striker,
balance.
No wrestler. Yeah, man. I'm trying to be all around. So wherever the fight goes, I can finish. You know what I'm saying? So that's my mindset. He let me take his back. So Backpack Bimmy came out.
Backpack Bimmy. Is that what they're calling you?
Yeah, Backpack Bimmy came out.
Oh my goodness.
Screw Backpack Bimmy. I'm gonna let y'all know firsthand. Backpack Bimmy sucks. I deal with it too much.
That's crazy. Birkin bag Bimmy. Maybe switch it up, level up a little more. Oh goodness. And your third technical fight of your pro career, TKO. So you guys are kind of like a little bit of a duo that so far, one guy's got the submission, one guy's got the TKO, Yeah, I guess you would attribute your boxing skills to that right there, Like you started early and, it's starting to shine out a little bit.
A little bit, but I feel like it's just fundamentals to how Bimmy was saying. Like, we really push in all aspects of fighting. Like, this is MMA. I want to be the best at everything. If you think you can wrestle better than me, I want to wrestle better than you. If you think you can box better than me, I want to box better than you. If you think you can kick, I want to kick with you. So it's just like pushing that all around and kind of like, whatever he gives me. Like, even in my last fight, if you watch the fight like with the guy, it was a lot of grappling in the beginning of the fight, but overall then you get to punches and elbows and a TKO. But we push MMA as a whole from every sequence of if I throw a hook or a kick, I'm looking for a shot or whatever you give me present itself. It's just all aspects.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Hey, George St. Pierre. Hey, he's good everywhere. That's what I want to be like. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people I like Il Taporia, but George St. Pierre, he's good everywhere. The jab is good. The wrestling is good. So that's how I'm trying to be. And he fights every time. He's safe in all of his fights. He comes out to fight. He look great. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to be like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, that Frenchman. Another question I had for you guys is, I feel like I'm not sure how it works with everybody. I've talked to a few fighters that train out of ATT, separate gyms here and there. Never been here before, but this is an interesting vibe here in Georgia. This is the first. I mean, there's American Top Team, Warner Robins, like a sect, but this is a lot bigger community where there's a lot more people fighting, I imagine, and there's a lot of people training MMA and all this stuff, right? So, being here, I'm curious as to what does it take for someone of your skills, or you, an amateur, or you're an upcoming pro like yourselves. How does one get a part of this gym? Do you have to, I know obviously there's like gym fees and stuff like that, but how do you? Because obviously you can't be a chump, right? You got to be good. You got to actually know your stuff and be able to hang with the big dogs, which ATT is, the Harvard education of MMA, as I've been told by many mixed martial artists myself. So, how does one get to ATT?
You want it?
There you go.
It's not. So now I feel like, especially with our gym, we have the classes in the evening that appeal to the community, and we even have an entry level MMA that starts off with more fundamentals, but our pro training as a team and as a whole now is more geared toward just pros and really competitive amateurs. You can definitely get in the sport easily by coming to hopefully any gym, and just starting to get into classes, the classes that they allow, and you do pay for those through membership. But our pro team, most of the time now, it's either you're invited, somebody sees something in you and already brings you in as a training partner.
I've heard that.
Or things of that nature. Yeah, we try to keep it to where it's now
tight circle.
Not even just as a tight circle, but it has to be competitive, and it has to be. It's called pro training for a reason. And we really try to push that. Even though, if you're an amateur, if you're good, we're gonna allow you to train with us. But it's really just pro, and the whole sense of the word. You treat fighting as your profession.
Yeah, no, exactly, 100%. That's prolific right there. Fighting as your profession. I've used that term before, but that's funny that you say that, because Lindsey Jones, trains out of Florida. Yeah, I talked to him before, and he basically said the same thing. Cole Miller branched out and, gave him the olive branch or whatever to train at ATT. And he said he probably wouldn't have been able to train had he not gotten that opportunity from someone who's been there as a vet and sees potential in him. So that's interesting. You see someone in the community, it's like, we could get you over here,
Because I went to go train over there also, but Jukal had to put the word in for me. Because when I first got down there, he forgot to put the word in.
Yeah.
So I get down there, I try to open the door. I'm like, the door's not open.
Yeah, they're tight
So
over
it's
there.
Okay, cool. I see somebody walking. I'm like, okay, cool. He walks up the door and said, "Who are you?" I said, "Oh, sheesh." We started with that. Not no good morning. Like, you know what I'm saying? I had to tell him. I told him my name is Bimysola, Attobra, and he was like, "I never heard of you." I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So I hit it up Jukal, and he hits him up, and then they let me in, but they keep it tight and shut.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like it's not even like you can't even get in. Like, you know how people come into the amateur classes, you can't even walk in. Like, even if you were coming for the amateur class, you have to check in.
Yeah.
So I do like that concept right there.
Well, that is a good concept too, especially when you're hearing about. I mean, you'll hear these MMA fighters in the podcast, spies in camp. They're sending a guy. Oh, I know we're going to train him for a fight. Let me send this training guy over there and see what he's working on. I think John Jones did that at the Rampage or something. I can't remember who it was.
couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard we have a couple. I haven't seen them with my own eyes, but they be talking about them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the tight circle and keeping it closed off is a good thing, but. Yeah, no cameras. They don't barely, unless it's like UFC, which they have like the pass because they got like credentials and they're the organization that's filming them and putting them on. So they have the quote unquote media pass. But other than that, there's no cameras in there. There's no people that aren't supposed to be there. Like it's strict. It's like Fort Knox in there. That's what I hear. Yeah, and that's a good way to train there. Good way to train. So we'll get into promotions a little bit now. Both of you kind of fought for some promotions here and there. I hear you guys talk about Combat Night a lot. Are they based out of Florida?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. If you could give me some insight. I see a lot of their social media. They seem to be running the social media really well. They seem to really do a great production from what I've seen. And apparently from you had a good experience. How was that?
Yeah, fighting for Combat Night, I think is pretty good because the exposure they have like 50,000 followers. Like that's one of the highest like promotions that's not on UFC Fight Pass. I think they should be on UFC Fight Pass in the future, but they have a lot of followers, so it's gonna help you out fighting on there. And then the videos they create with your fight, the reels and stuff is it's gonna help you out. So it's gonna help exposure. So I think fighting on there is pretty good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, and on a regional scene too, like an amateur and a semi-pro and pro. You don't see the quality of content like that, put out. Even
a lot of promotions don't
put out that stuff. It's just and I've had the opportunity to work for Summit out in Mississippi, and they don't have like a social media, but they put on great fights. But I'm like, if they had someone working the machine, doing stuff like that, dude, it would be amazing. Because I went to their last card, and there are a lot of amateur debuts, and I'm just like, you gotta get the moments captured, man. Because that's more views, more clicks for your money. You're getting more money slowly rolling in. People slowly start getting finding out about your promotion, and the regional scenes. The regional scene. You're not really having to worry about constantly having to get pro talent like the UFC and Bellator and all these big places. You're getting the next generation, right? And I feel like it's a little easier to build a good card if you got a good MMA community, as long as you got a good enough population and you got a good matchmaker and you got a good set of people around you in the promotion that know the sport, which is what I've noticed with Summit FC out in Mississippi. They got a good thing going. Been going for 10 years there. The owner, I watched an old interview from like 15 years ago. He used to fight, and he found out about MMA from the tapes from the original UFCs. Like he was watching it. He's like, "What's this?" He puts the tapes in. And he's like, "It's this big ass dude going up against Hoist Gracie." He's like, "Oh, the big dude's gonna win, right?" And when he saw that, he was like, "Oh shit, this is crazy, right?" So I think he fought like 2 or 3 times, and then he's like, "Screw this, I'm gonna start my own promotion." And he's been doing that for 10, 11 years now, and he's not losing money. And most promotions don't make money or barely even to make a profit or do anything. And he's been running a good show out there 3 times a year. He'll do a show in Mississippi, Tupelo. And I've been invited out there twice. Be back in August. hopefully maybe get to do cage post-fight interviews. Hopefully, at least at the very least, do the pre-fight and post-fight outside of the cage. But they got a good thing going there. And when I see a good promotion going like that, I'm like, okay, Georgia needs something like that because they got a gritty ass owner. Like the owner's in there because his production backed out last second, so he was like doing the production. Like that's a lot of work for a giant. You got the lights, the audio. You don't want it to mess up. You have pay-per-view. You don't want all that stuff messing up. So he was in there stressed as hell. I'm getting over there. I'm like, oh, I don't need to talk to this man. He's stressed out. So it's just seeing a guy like that run his thing. You got to have a lot of respect for him and the work he's put in all those years. But yeah. Promotions, man. We need them in Georgia.
Yeah, we need more promotion in Georgia, man. We can't just have one promotion. That's what I'm thinking.
Same thing with, the UFC. I mean, we have obviously PFL, Bellator, and you could say LFA and Cage Fury, but those are more feeder promotions that lead into the pros. But, the UFC with the recent, antitrust lawsuit and all that, like, it just... they need competition. And I guess you could say one, too. But they're a little bit more international. I wish they had a little bit more of a presence here in the U.S.
They're supposed to be coming, right?
Yes,
One
November,
puts on shows in Denver, but I think it's something with the way like all their rules are sanctioned because you have to think about it. They do tie. So they have to make sure they're in a commission that kind of allows for everything, but
that's where it started.
One has money, a good amount of money, but like we're saying, it's better with competition on the regional scene or like top level pro UFC level. Whenever you have competition, it only makes the sport grow and business better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean. But there's also one has the Muay Thai bouts. They have all the different type of bouts. Jiu-Jitsu, with Mikey Mushemi. That's something unique that the UFC hasn't really adopted. They just stick to MMA. And then you got PFL that has like the whole point system, which is kind of weird. I
like that.
It's different though because the fighters, they're fighting 4 times a year. There is no inactivity. There's no inactivity though. That's the thing. It's a challenge to get to the top to become the champion of the season, but you get paid $1 million. I think they have like the road to $1 million or something like that, and it's pretty cool. I like the activity aspect to it. But I don't think that should just be solely their own model. That's just my opinion, right? That's just me speaking.
So you think they should have that tournament still have regular
I think they should
fights?
have tournaments. I think they should have more of a variety. I mean, because you just saw with Bellator getting bought out, right? There's a lot of guys that got let go. There's a lot of guys on the market right now, I feel. And if you want to build, we have, in America, we have, college football. Yeah. We have, it's televised and it's all over. It gets hella viewership. We don't really have a singular, like, quote unquote college MMA. And I'm not saying college fighters, I'm not saying people who are in college, but I'm saying
A feeder.
Yeah, like a feeder,
Top level feeder.
like a league, right? Yeah. A unified league that's got a lot of these younger guys up where you can see the lower level competition all compete in a league like that. I think that's something that would be great just for the sport. And it's not even about money, right? It's not about selling pay-per-views. It's like, because college football is not always about, I mean, you can watch that for free a lot of times, so.
But that's why you don't see it in the sport.
Yeah,
Even now,
but there's still a lot of money to be made in it, I feel. Sponsorships, you could still build, ads on TV. I feel like there's definitely a way. It's just a matter of promoters, getting their money, or if you're just building a unified, excuse me, can't even speak, a unified promotion where you're not having to worry about the promotional aspect of it, and someone trying to line their pockets and such. Obviously you want to get some fighters paid. I don't know. It's something I've tried to talk about with a lot of fighters. Just like, well, did you ever see that happen? And then right now they're just like, well, you look at it right now, it's just like, it doesn't seem possible, but maybe 10 years in the future, you never know. The sport's constantly evolving. Let's see what else I got here. Oh yes, this is one of my favorite things to do. So I do the rapid fire UFC fighters. I could take turns with you. So I give you a name of a UFC fighter. You describe them with one word. So who wants to go first? You got it. All right, I'm just gonna give you a guy, and you just say first word that comes to mind. All right. Piotr Jan.
Monster.
Alessandro Pantoja.
I messed it up. Restart. Yeah. Restart. Man, I told you, Grinder.
Grinder. Okay. Brandon Moreno.
What's one for him? I just think Grasshopper. I just think Grasshopper.
All right.
My bad.
Kamaru Usman.
Monster.
Francis Ngannou.
Monster. That's easy, bro.
Shavkat Rakhmonov.
Oh, Grinder.
All right, we got to switch up vocabulary now.
Right. That's what. Right.
Matt Serra.
Matt Serra. I can't even think. What's the word that comes to my head? See, nothing really coming to my head about him.
GSP.
Oh, the best. GOAT.
John Jones.
Go. Yeah, that's my 2 goals right here. Yeah, go.
Demetrius Johnson.
Go. No, go. That's all right.
Ilia Topuria.
Upcoming GOAT.
Oh yeah.
Upcoming GOAT.
Fast. I would say fast.
Yeah. You don't see it. You don't see it.
Here's one thing I'll say about Ilia, right? I've actually only been to one UFC pay-per-view event. I think. Do you guys remember when there was supposed to be Glover versus Teixeira, or not Glover versus Prohaska in Vegas, and it got thrown out because Yuri had the shoulder injury. Yeah. So when that happened, I was like pissed because I was going to buy tickets for that, but it ended up being Magomed Ankalaev versus Jan Blachowicz, and the ticket prices went down for that because that's the main event, and those guys don't really sell. So I was like, hell yeah, I got to go to an event because there was Ilia fighting on the undercard on that. Patty, Bryce Mitchell, Darren Till, still a great card. But when I went there, I was, in the nosebleeds. But when you're in the nosebleeds, you can see into the octagon and you can see how quick these guys are moving. And Ilia Topuria, out of everyone I saw that night, was one of the quickest guys. Quick, like fast, can throw really fast. Like it just seemed like his I'm not saying he's the next MMA GOAT. I just want to say that his striking. Yeah, bro. I've seen it in person,
and you saw what he did to Bryce Mitchell.
Quick,
it's
very
and that's
fast.
what I was saying. I'm not taking anything away from Ilia. I think his striking is great. I would just say hold off on like the up and coming GOAT talk because
I didn't say that.
His competition, and that's what I'm saying. Like his competition, even at 45, is steep. Movsar Evloev, Max Holloway. Like I want to see him win 2 more fights before we can even see how good he looks compared to Volk's resume and Aldo's resume at 45.
Yeah, he's still got a way to go, but don't get me wrong. His striking is very strong suit of his.
Bro. And then his jiu-jitsu is really good too.
He does have good jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. I think he has more submissions on his record than he does knockouts.
What he did to Bryce, I was not expecting that.
No, I thought it was
he made him
striking.
Bro, after the fight, he made him think about quitting MMA.
Yeah.
Do you know how bad somebody has to submit you? Like, I wonder how bad it was. Like,
beat the brakes off of him.
Beat the brakes off him, bro.
Well, I saw it live, and I just remember when I saw him throw a hook, it just like the motion of it, because I saw a lot of people throw that night, and it was a little sloppy compared to him. Like it was so fine tuned, and like I just remember seeing him glide, like the footwork, everything about the stand up was just like, holy shit, this guy can move. Like he has great footwork, and he can hit you really fast.
Exactly. And then
really hard.
Do you see his sparring videos, bro? He be going, bro.
To be Ilia, you have to be physical and you got to be really long, like a Jai Herbert. Because and you have to be able to
knocked him down.
Knocked him down. But you have to be able to grapple as well. Like you have to be aggressive, like physical with these things. Because if not, he's gonna walk through you, bro. He has too much power, like you're saying. He glides. It's his footwork. He's fast. He's in and out.
How did he knock Volk out? Where Volk had his hand down.
He was the thing was he pushed him against a cage, and every time I see them go against that cage, I'm like, get the hell out of there. You saw what happened to Moon.
Yeah.
I was like, I saw him going up against the cage. I'm like, that's a bad spot to be.
Yeah, I hate being up against the cage. I hate it.
And up against the cage too, like a lot of guys need to realize this. I'm glad we talk about this. Like especially for MMA, when guys like MMA guys, they look at other sports, like they look at boxing and they look at Muay Thai and things like that. You can't go based off what you see when guys lean on the ropes, as such as we are in here, because it's not the same thing. Against the ropes, you can lean out. Against the ropes, you can peel away, and it's not a full barrier. Against the cage, when you hit that cage, it's a pause. It's a stop for a second, and that's where a lot of guys catch you once you hit the cage, and then it's a boom. Exactly.
Yeah. The Mac is back. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, he is real now. We've been waiting for so long. That's another thing, McGregor, man. McGregor Chandler. How do you guys see that matchup going?
Will the fight even happen?
Oh, it's happening.
It's happening?
It's happening June. It's happening next month.
I don't believe it until I see the
Yeah,
weigh-ins.
that's what I'm saying. I hear what he's saying. I get what you're saying too. Like the fight is said to be happening, but he's saying, is it going to actually?
Well, when Dana says it, I believe him because he don't bullshit. Like when he announces it, it happens.
But what if Michael pulls out?
Michael's not pulling out. Connor is gonna pull out if anything.
You think so?
Yes, bro. I think.
I mean, even
Serious injury.
even though
I
I think
pull out.
honestly, I think Chandler is in his cool down phase right now because he's been training. You see his Instagram?
Yeah, bro.
He's training. He been like when Connor was off doing Roadhouse, when he was doing that, you see his Instagram every single day, workout of the day, throwing shit down. He has been in training camp this whole time. I think he's coasting off. He's taking it easy now. He's ready.
Yeah.
He's been ready.
But I
He's
think
been
that's
training
part
for
of
this
the
guy.
worry too.
What's that?
I think that's part of the worry too. Connor's waited him out.
Yeah.
I feel like that was not just because of the injury in the Roadhouse, but potentially like Connor's smart, bro.
He tries to play it off. Yeah, he tries to play it off as like maybe he might get an injury training so hard for him, but Mike got the opportunity, right? The organization's backing the fight with him McGregor. Very rarely can someone after they call McGregor out. We just saw Buckley call him McGregor, and everyone just shunned that off. Like, what are you doing, dude?
When he said that, I was like, huh?
To get a McGregor call out,
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna fuck with that chance.
Yeah.
And I think he's taking that very seriously. And like you said, he's like, I'm patient. I'm gonna wait for it. And he's been committed. And I don't think he's gonna risk an injury. I mean, obviously the guy trains like a freaking tank, but I don't think he's risking nothing.
Yeah, but I think Buckley against McGregor, I think he got a chance though. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, he definitely
Buckley has
does.
a chance, but that fight would never ever get.
Yeah,
It has to be a story,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
the Michael Chandler, they had Coach the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
Mike Chandler's made bigger waves than Buckley. Even though Buckley has made waves, he's just been in and out of divisions.
Yeah.
For sure.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Chandler win that fight if that fight happens.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
You
I
think?
see.
I think if McGregor makes it there healthy, and it's a real, if it's an actual McGregor and he makes it there healthy, I don't think Chandler wins that
I
fight
think-
at all.
You don't think McGregor's too rich now?
Here's the
Like-
thing. Here's the thing. They're at 170.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You've seen Mike at 150. What's Mike at 170?
And that helps Connor a lot too. I'm glad you said that
Yeah,
because
it helps both.
I completely forgot about that. It helps both. Like I get Mike's a big guy, but he's a short guy.
Yeah.
He is short.
If you like, think
But he has
about
struggled.
the build of
Connor
Connor
has
at
struggled with
welterweight.
wrestlers.
Think about but Mike doesn't wrestle. Mike's not gonna wrestle.
Well, no.
He's openly said he's not gonna wrestle.
But he said that to Gaethje. He did take him down. He did try to go for the takedown. He went for the takedown on Poirier. I think he's always going to try and utilize that one slam takedown in the fight. I don't think he's going to be like grappling from the get-go, obviously, because he's got dynamite in his hands.
Bro, they should have made Justin Gaethje versus McGregor. I like that better, bro.
Well, not anymore now. He just lost.
because he
but
lost, but still.
Max Holloway rematch.
Yeah, that could be one right there.
I
but-
think that's the way to go after this.
Well-
I see a McGregor win, and I see a Max Holloway BMF rematch because Max
McGregor.
needs to stay at a higher weight if he really wants to optimize his performance. Just in my opinion, my personal opinion. And if Conor wins, he's not fighting Leon Edwards. He's not fighting Islam. Who is he gonna fight?
Well, that's the thing, right? Here's a theory, because for the longest time, before he broke the leg, he was going to call out Oliveira and fight for the belt. That's not going to happen anymore because, well, also he doesn't want to cut down that. I don't think he wants to cut down anymore. And maybe he doesn't want to fight Leon, but who knows what's in the cards for who's the champion for when in the future, because I feel like he wants that third belt. He's talked about it a few times. He's like, what if I get that third belt? Because I don't see him cutting below with how big he is now.
But a BMF counts as that.
Yeah, you could say that, but
Conor's not winning an undisputed title again.
I'm not saying he is, but I'm saying he wants to challenge for 170. I think he wants to stay at 170.
And I'm not saying that because he's like rich. Like
Yeah.
Bimmy thinks like Conor's so rich that he just like doesn't want to fight anymore. Like I really think that Chandler is the perfect matchup for him. Like I think if it's a healthy Conor and he's ready, like he walks through Chandler. But at the same time, the game has kind of evolved since Conor.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that in like a bad way. Like he's never had, like we were just saying before. You have to in this game now. Like look at the top level guys. You have to be good at every single thing: wrestling, striking, the cardio.
Yeah.
Connor's lacking in some of those things. He's an amazing counter striker.
Cardio. I think he's
Amazing
still going to have the
counter-striker.
cardio issue.
His
That's never going to
cardio
go
is going
away.
to be bad because he's it's the way he's built. His twitch, bro. He's fast twitch. Boom, boom. He's a sprinter. He's not built for 25 minutes, he's 15
And it
minutes.
gets worse with age.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think it doesn't go the distance at all. I think it's going to be 2, 3. I heard that at first he wanted it to be 3 rounds. He said, I only want 3 rounds. And, he's been out for so long, he might not even be. They were like even saying the promotion wanted him to be the main event, but it's like, dude, you've been out for so long, you might have to be the co-main if you're being 3 rounds, because you can't be the main event and be 3 rounds.
Exactly.
That's like not even like the UFC does not do that anymore for some reason. I think they should bring back 3-round main events, in my personal opinion. But
Well, if it's McGregor, I think maybe they make that exception. But the thing is, with McGregor,
I get it for championships, but why is it so needed for like? Because remember, like back in the day, UFC main events used to be 3 rounds.
yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of debate. I watched Joe Rogan religiously, and he's been talking. He had Horace Gracie on 2 episodes ago, and I love listening to that episode. Like the moment I saw it, I was like, oh,
This is a legend.
legend. Well, they were talking about rounds, right? Same thing we're talking about, right? Wow, it used to be just 1 round. A 1 15-minute round or something like that. Or it was, no rounds, when there's no time limit. It's like, imagine you don't have to stop or, you don't have to break position.
Yeah.
It's just a fight.
Yeah.
Like a normal fight. No breaks in between. And that's a big thing too. And it's like they talk, would that be brought back in any circumstance? And it doesn't seem like anyone has the want to bring
I
that
feel
back.
like it's too hard to do. It just, in my personal opinion, it's too hard to do because you have to think about MMA as like proceeding, like for the masses as well. You have to keep this as some sort of sport with guidelines. When you go back to like a continuous fight, yes, that's good to see. But there was back in the day, I was like we were talking about podcasts we just listened to. I was listening to like Tank Abbott and then like a Shannon Rich podcast. Like these guys are great guys, legends. But they weren't like guys that were winning a ton. And the thing is, in those days, you fight 45 minutes because there's no time limit. That's
You fight till someone goes out.
Exactly. Like that's as 50% of a fight as you can get, but it doesn't look good for TV. And you could never put that on TV.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I also have thought of as well, where you have so many fights on a card. If the fight's just running continuously, you're losing the time slots that you have for certain things. But certainly 10-minute rounds, or if you do a 10-minute round, 1 10-minute round, or 2, or
Yeah, bro. See, I would have no problem. I would say I have no problem with it. But what if you getting tired and you just need that little 1 minute
Ice on the chest.
Yeah, he was one of the people that said, "No, we should do 10 minutes. We should do
7.
Right. So it's like I don't know about that one, man. I like how it is now. Don't go ahead.
I'm not against it, but they were talking about it, with the guy who grew up in the era where there was just like not really many guidelines, and I was just, interested to hear what you guys' thoughts were on that.
I mean, keep it how it is. Like,
Stay the same. I think 3 rounds, like if you're just like trying to like give Conor something, give him a gift. He's coming back. He's gonna sell well for the UFC. Then you make it a 3-round main event. Y'all used to do it all the time, but changing round time it's very hard to do because I think it changes too much as the way the sport is looked at.
Yeah, because this sport is already looked at as crazy.
Well, how do you? Joe's got this thing.
Oh yeah, he's crazy. He thinks of insane stuff.
Well, no, he's got this thing where if let's say you land a takedown on him at the end of the round, do you start back in that same position? You don't, but you stand back up. But you worked so hard to get that takedown. Why don't you start back in that position? What's the thing with you guys? How do you feel about that?
As a wrestler, yes, let's do it. But I don't think they should do that. That it's restart of a new round. Restart on the feet. The fight starts on the feet. In a street fight, fight starts on the feet. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? I just don't start me back in this guard. You know what I'm saying? Keep it how it is. You know what I'm saying?
I feel the same way. Like I get it towards pertaining to a wrestler, but then it almost becomes like, are you for the striker or are you for the wrestler? And it goes back to how we want to perceive the sport. If you put a guy back down in his guard, whether we think it is the most purest thing or not, which Joe is, there are fans booing so much. Boo, stand him up. So it's like you have to, a lot of these things go back to like the product and how it looks as well.
Yeah, and Hoyce had a good point. He mentioned, okay, so let me be the devil's advocate. If a striker's knocks him down at the end of a round, do they start the same way? Like, how would it work for a striker and then for a grappler? Exactly. So that was just an interesting point he brought up. Now it's interesting to hear someone in the space tell me, their thoughts on that. That's interesting. Yeah, man. Now, hey, now we gotta get the rapid fire on you, man. Gotta get the rapid fire. Okay. Now I gotta just bring up some guys. Okay. Rotang.
Oh, power.
Ben Askren.
Nut sniffer.
Conor McGregor.
Legend.
Mike Chandler.
That's a word.
That's the word.
See you at the top. Dustin Poirier.
Hook.
Benoit Saint Denis.
Soldier.
Patty the Batty.
Don't like him.
Bobby Green.
Gangster.
Renato Moicano.
Money.
Moicano wants money. Shout out Moicano. Hopefully you see this one day.
Yes, Mikano wants money. Yes, show me the money.
Dude, I love that guy. He's been making waves too. You see what he did to Jalen Turner? Like he got dropped. He tried to do the walk off, and he's like, "No, I'm getting back up."
Bro, why did Jalen Turner drop him and walk off?
I love you, Jalen, but come
Bro,
on.
I fought with Jalen Turner, bro. Bro, like I was so happy when he did that. No, so I fuck with Marcano, but it's like Jalen Turner when he hit him, I was like, oh my gosh.
He tried to get like the walk off.
nah,
You got a
bro.
hammer fist, dog.
Shield.
That you go till the ref pulls you off.
That's becoming a problem in the sport too now. Everybody's trying to get like these highlights. Guys, everybody isn't Sugar Sean O'Malley and Conor McGregor. When you do that, you really start to sacrifice like your money, and at the same time, think about Alex Pereira. Alex, how many times have you guys seen Alex knock somebody senseless, and then he's still on top of them? Oh, boy, Shama. There's a reason for that.
When he did the heel?
Yes, exactly. He was out. He was out.
He said he slipped, but I don't know, bro.
No. Well, you saw how he stepped on his foot and then landed it, and he didn't even land it clean. Didn't even land it clean. But the dude's got power like no one's ever seen. And I saw a video where someone was comparing hands. His hands is like 3 of mine times 2 combined. Like they're huge. Yeah, stone hands is what it stands
Before
for.
he even dropped him, he was like kept touching his jab hand, kept touching his jab hand, and then he just swung it. Under the uppercut. It's just like
Free technique.
It's just like, and he got him up in that back area against the cage. Like we've seen this happen so many times recently where you get back up against that cage and you're up there with a striker who knows what he's doing. You're going to get put out. If you're not moving around, the same thing happened to Izzy.
Yeah.
Same thing happened to Izzy. Like even the greatest, that cage will screw you over.
Exactly. Like it's not a lot you can do when you put your back against the cage. Like you getting yourself susceptible to takedowns.
Yeah.
So much more. A good striker could cut you off, stay in front of you, and you know what I'm saying? Just
It's like I feel you're obviously. I'm not like the fighting expert, but I feel you're better off moving forward in some direction, moving left or right, trying to weave out of it than you are backing up away from someone who's a deadly striker. I mean, I feel like it's going to be harder for them to hit you. Am I wrong?
Yeah, go ahead.
Like Bimmy was about to say, like physicality. Everything in the cage is really like a present. So it's how somebody is physical and how they're getting at you, and that's what Alex has. Like we're just talking, Alex has probably one of the craziest presents, and he's super physical. So he's catching your jab like that and doing certain things. It's gonna back you up and make you think. But that's also the problem with the cage. Like we were saying again, you can never accept position on the cage, whether it be a takedown. Yeah. It's easy to get takedowns on the cage, or if you allow yourself to. Once you get to the cage and you hit, that's when somebody's going to hit you with something hard. Mm-hmm. So when it's like as soon as you feel yourself getting there, or if you touch, you can never accept position against the cage.
Man, the cage, man. That was another thing. Like you see, Karate Combat. Yeah. They got the pit now. That's a new thing, right? It's kind of like almost like a bowl almost. That's an interesting concept. Now they're just doing stand up, right? Or what are they doing?
Stand up with like modified ground and pound. So the ground and pound, I feel like they keep changing it because they have the new promoter from Florida, President Awesome. He runs what is that gym called?
What is it called?
Goat Shed.
Yeah.
So he's the coach of Goat Shed, and he does the Karate Combat stuff now. So it's almost like, you remember Bloodsport? You know that movie? No?
I do not.
There's one with Jean-Claude, I don't know if it's Jean-Claude Van Damme, but Bloodsport, kind of like that type of stuff. Yeah. Back in the day, the karate, they used to have a similar type pit, but this one is just like kind of more extreme. So it's all striking. They just brought back knees. They're just trying to really encourage like action and like striking in the purest sense. So more so of that, but they're changing a bunch of rules now. They have ground and pound. It's just certain striking rules. Like I don't know if they allow you to kick the thigh. It's certain.
Yeah, because I'm not sure how the rule set was with that, but I've seen Luke Rockhold. I think I've heard rumors that Anderson Silva might come back for that.
That would be crazy. Luke just did it.
And Luke wanted to fight him, I think, is what it was. Or it was who else competed? There's someone else. Maybe I think it was the Jackson podcast with Rampage. He was talking with Luke, and I think he was talking about maybe fighting Anderson or someone of that expertise. Lyoto Machida, maybe. I think it was a Lyoto Machida they may have talked about. Because I think Anderson's getting a little old. I don't know if he's even competing anymore. He's like 48, 49. So that was one thing I was like, Anderson's kind of in the 50s, man. You'd be like Mike Tyson boxing Jake Paul at that point. Like, that's happening, this weekend or next weekend? I don't know. That's its own thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, why Tyson taking a fall like that, man? For the bread.
You think he's taking a fall?
Well, for the bread, man. I definitely.
But just look at the pattern of Jake Paul and all the people he's fought.
Yeah, bro.
Like it's like he started off with the basketball player, and then he got on the undercard of Mike Tyson, and then he had Ben Askren, and then he had Tyron Woodley, then he had Tyron Woodley again, and then then he had Tommy Fury, lost barely. I mean, I wouldn't say barely. It was a split, but he did rock Tommy in the fight, so it was kind of competitive.
Is the fight even a pro fight?
They have 14-ounce gloves. Yeah, it is a fight. It's a sanctioned bout, but it's 14-ounce gloves, 8 2-minute rounds, and I think there was one other stipulation they had in there. I can't remember what it was, but the 14 ounces are huge gloves. Yeah. So like those are more protection, I'm assuming.
Gloves almost. 16s
so
are sparring
match, pretty much.
I don't know though. Here's my thing. I think both of these guys have power still. Obviously, well, Jake's in his quote-unquote prime. I think Mike still has some type of power. We saw what he was doing with Roy when he really was in a gentleman's agreement with him. We all know that was a gentleman's agreement.
Yeah, they weren't going for the head too much.
And we've seen, like Mike said in a press conference, because I'm into it. I like it. Now, I'm going to be realistic. Do I think Mike has a chance after round 3 or 4? No. Unless Jake just is that fat and he has no type of pace.
He is looking a lot bigger.
He is bigger, but unless he has no type of pace, then it gets to, okay, like who has the longevity in the fight, the cardio and that sort of thing. But I give Mike a live dog chance.
Yeah, I mean, you just see videos of him sparring, and you're just like, well, that guy still's got a little bit of the striking on it. Because, when Ali started to get older, I think he had the brain thing, so he just started to kind of like shrivel up. But, as the sport progressed, there was a little bit more protection. People were training better. And also, you didn't want to train with Tyson. He was going to knock. He's just such a big guy.
It's healthy, Mike. And even if you think about Tyson's career, like he's had a lot of times in between going to jail, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but like things where it's giving him downtime. Mm-hmm. So I think Mike is still.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, he took so much time off from the sport. Yeah. And I don't know. It's a weird matchup. I mean, obviously, I don't like seeing a young guy box an old boxing legend. That's not something I'm really into. Like, but he agreed to it. He did agree to it.
On Netflix. I don't know when.
Yeah, it's free on Netflix. I think they're trying to get Netflix is trying to get into live sports. I think that's why they're doing this as their first kind of like sporting thing. And Dana was saying, like, they should have done that a long time ago because they're such a big streaming giant. Why don't you have there's no sports on it, just kind of like movies and shows.
Yo, what if they did some of these pro cards on Netflix? That'd be crazy, man. Like LFA, something like that.
Yeah, LFA's under UFC Fight Pass.
Yeah, some other.
It would have to be something big. Like, it would have to be another promotion that's like big, up and coming. For Netflix, I feel like to see interest. I get what you're saying. Like maybe like a new pro promotion, but I feel like it would have to be somebody with some like
people behind
some stock. Maybe, and I'm not saying this as I think this will happen because I don't think it'll happen at all. But like if Bellator, maybe it came a little earlier, and Netflix had already done some of boxing stuff, and they're like, oh, maybe we'll bid on this MMA as well.
Yeah, I think HBO was a part of Bellator. I think or Showtime something.
They were for a time.
Yeah, but the weird thing with that, just getting the promotions on something like that, because. Icon FC, you got Cage Fury, LFA, they're all under that branch of UFC Fight Pass. And I don't know what that means, but apparently that's under the branch of the UFC, even though they're not solely owned by the UFC, from what I hear. They're not owned, but they're under their branch where you have to pay money to basically that feeder organization or whatever.
Be streamed on there, yeah.
Exactly. So it's like it's basically you're owned by them. Like, because the only way you people are going to go to see you is through their network and in person.
Exactly.
And in person, it's already limited enough as it is. So I have a feeling that they shouldn't. I mean, obviously they have to have that a little bit, but they don't want to get too out of hand where they control all of the, because they bought up WEC, you know, they buy up all these organizations like Strikeforce, you know, they buy these places up. You're not really given room for anywhere else to grow, and you have too much control over it. It's just, it doesn't look good.
So
even though I love the UFC and I love Dana White and how he's ran the business, it's just, I want to see, you know, another company kind of flourish in their own light. And it doesn't have to be in the same, but the competition with PFL and Bellator, just, it's like PFL and Bellator they're not a shining a light to them.
No, they're not.
You can fly out of here. It's all over the place. Flying on your head.
I got a question for you. What do you think?
Like a question for me.
Yeah.
What's
what do you think they should do to be in better competition with the UFC?
Like just promotions?
Yeah.
Well, depends on what promotion you got. If you got a PFL,
I think they really do the best.
No,
they
don't get
can
me wrong.
now.
They're doing good, but you kind of have to take a page out of the UFC's book. Okay.
Yeah.
They're getting pay-per-view buys for doing just MMA. Yeah. It's a blueprint right there, okay? So you got the Ultimate Fighter, right? You got these shows where you build up your stars, you know. They're just signing guys from the UFC, signing guys from Bellator, signing guys from these other promotions. They've already built their story, and they're just coming. They're the leftovers. A lot of leftovers are getting sent to that promotion. Not all, but there's a lot of new guys coming into that promotion, but they're not building up these guys like the UFC did. And
the UFC be doing like little recordings, come to their person's hometown, and they don't even do
UFC
that.
embedded.
PFL. Yeah.
They do it. They do it. It's on YouTube. It's just because they're the PFL. Like, I'm going to say this. The PFL has some backing now. And I know some people that fight for them right now. Yeah, he's in here hard.
Hit him with a elbow or something.
Box him or something, bro. Yeah. But at the same time, PFL, they're not only are they trying and they're doing new things with like their global format and stuff. That's what we were just talking about right now. It's technically Bellator, but they have a pair show right now. It's going on right now.
Yeah.
And they're giving out bags. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, and you hear it here first from me. They pay better than the UFC.
They do, yeah, and that's not hidden fact at all. Like a lot of people have known that, but their format is a little different. UFC is like a little bit more lenient as far as like they give you 3 fights a year, but you don't have to, you know, do whatever. But,
and the UFC is the ultimate goal. Don't get it wrong. The UFC is a premier promotion. You want to be the champion of the UFC to be the man to be remembered. But if you're just trying to like up and coming guys and you're trying to make a living and you're trying to get there,
you can build a name for yourself.
It's a viable option.
See, a lot of people ask me would I rather go to UFC or PFL. I always tell them this: I'd rather be rich than famous. It doesn't matter to me. Whoever comes to me first, that's what I'm gonna go with. You know what I'm saying? So like. They both great in my opinion.
Yeah. And you know,
they both will change my life.
The PFL, my recommendation, or you know, kind of like something that people are looking for. You know, the Ultimate Fighter is really what saved the UFC from bankruptcy, from going under. Yeah. You know, Stephen Bonner and Forrest Griffin. Yeah. So that show
that's when nobody wanted to fight at first. Like everybody was like trying not to fight or something like that.
Well, it was. Or people were against it for sure. They couldn't get on networks. You know, they were on Spike TV. That was the only television company that would, you know, air them.
Commissions didn't allow it as much.
Yeah, they just got commissioned in 2016 in New York. So, you know, that for the longest time there was a lot of people against it, but it was really starting to break through that phase. Yeah. But that show, it brought a different reality TV aspect of it, because reality TV kind of does do well. In certain lights on TV, you know, you see the freaking Keeping Up with the Kim Kardashians. They've been running that show for God knows how long. You know,
my mom be watching that.
The Ultimate Fighter is a moneymaker for sure.
And that's what every promotion needs. They need their own version of it, because that's where you get to know the fighters. You're getting to learn about their stories, and then you're also seeing the build up to fights, and then you see these guys get signed into the promotion, and then you see them coach fighters. You know, you're seeing them as coaches. You know, you're seeing a lot of different aspects of the sport that you wouldn't normally see when you're just seeing 2 guys fight in a cage. You know, it brings so much more to the sport, and every promotion needs something like that. They need the embedded. They need the Ultimate Fighter. They need the Contender Series is another thing. They got, all right, who's up in the rise? Let's see. All right, you get a contract. You get a contract. They do that every Tuesday night.
Shout out to Therese. He's going back to the Contender Series again. I don't know if you guys know who that is. You saw that knockout?
Yes.
That's another Combat Night product.
Yes, bro. Oh, question for Joe. Ultimate Fighter or Contender Series? Which one would you rather do?
The Contender Series for sure. But here's the thing, and I've heard Dana talk about this. If the Contender Series is the top talent already. So you need to be UFC ready, and I'm glad that was a good question, low key, because that's why the thing with Therese happened though. That's why he got sent back, because even though like in that fight, they want to see you show exactly what you're showing on the regional scene, and it has to be as dominant and as good of a finish or fight or whatever the case may be. I like the Contender Series because you show it all on that night. I feel like I could show my personality and stuff on the Ultimate Fighter, but I don't like the contract, and I feel like I can show myself better on Dana White's Contender Series.
I think the Ultimate Fighter is better because the Contender Series, if you go to the Contender Series, you have one bad day in the offense, or
you only get one chance.
You only get one chance. So even if you
they don't bring you back usually.
Like let's say if you win, and you win by wrestling and just dominant wrestling, and you probably land a couple punches here and there. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that happens. And guess what?
They'll give you another chance.
You give you another chance,
but you might go up against an even better guy.
Maybe. Yeah. Now, if you go on Ultimate Fighter, I win every fight by decision, and I wrestle everybody, I still will get the contract.
Or, you're still on a TV show. You're getting to build your personality. People are learning who you are, and you're able to network with your coach who's in the UFC. So you can ask him. You're getting trained by this guy.
Exactly.
You're getting training from a guy who's in the UFC, and he's going to give you all the access and stuff that you need for that time that you're there. I mean, if you utilize that, you probably have a good chance of getting in. At least because, like...
And they give you a lot of chance with Ultimate Fighter. Like, you see those guys, the 35ers, they... No, Cody Durden? No, he got straight to the UFC against I forgot his name. Yeah. But thing is about the Ultimate Fighter, like you could fight all those fights and win by decision, and then still get on there. You on TV, you're fighting on the UFC card and everything, and then all the time the chances they give people, like,
they give you more chances on the Ultimate Fighter because if they see whether it be personality or heart, determination. They're like, okay, he's kind of sellable. We like this guy's character because, Cole Miller, he was on season 5 of The Ultimate Fighter, and he lost his third bout against Joe Lozon, and it was mainly he got elbowed back of the head, and they pulled him off, but he said he wanted to keep going, and it just he didn't end up he got quote unquote finished, but the back of the head thing really messed him up, but. They gave him another chance, and he got to fight for the UFC, and he got a contract.
Exactly.
So you can get multiple chances. Whereas the Contender Series, you have to be like top level because they're literally scalping the regional scene for the highest level guys, and they're like, all right, that guy belongs here. Whereas I feel like the UFC's got a large roster. And when they get the Ultimate Fighter, they're getting maybe a little less lower in competition, but they're getting a few here and there, that are really good, but not like in the Dana White's Contender Series is about quality, and then the Ultimate Fighter is more about quantity. They're getting more people from the Ultimate Fighter than they are from the Contender Series. Exactly. So that's how I see it.
Well, y'all heard it here first. Dana White Contender Series. Hit me up. Tough. Hit up Bimmy.
Yeah. Get your way there. And I was listening to Mick, the matchmaker, one of the matchmakers for the UFC, Mick Maynard. He was speaking on a video promotional-wise, and, like we look at these guys in a regional scene, and if they're not finishing fights on a regional scene, we that's the big thing that we're looking for.
Bro, let me tell you something. You can ask Diego Lima. After I won my last fight by decision, I was so mad walking back there. 'Cause I was like, bro, They was like, what's wrong? I was like, I didn't get a finish. He's like, no, let's get this win. It matters about getting these wins. But I'm like, man, in my head, it kind of messes up fighters also because they're searching for the finish all the time in their fights. It could be a good thing. It also could be a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? But everybody's stuck on finishes and everything. But when you go to the Contender Series, the goal is to get a finish. So it's kind of like, it's crazy.
Well, obviously, I think the big thing that the matchmakers, they're probably going to look at your most recent fights. So obviously, a few decisions aren't bad, right? Especially if it's like early pro and late amateur or whatever. But I think the big thing is, later on in your early pro career, do you have finishes? Are you finishing the fights? Who are you fighting?
Yes.
Who are you fighting?
Who are you fighting?
If you're fighting really good people, might be harder to knock them out, and where your scene's located. It just depends, And where were we talking about? We were talking about Contender Series, Ultimate Fighter.
It's like the level, like Contender Series, Ultimate Fighter, or just getting straight up signed out of the UFC or out of the regional scene to the UFC.
Yeah, that's a big thing. We could go on into that regional scene, the UFC, But let me pose a question here. You guys are early on, like I've said. Have you got a certain goals in mind? I'm not talking about like so far down the line, but right now, what's your guys' main focus as far as maybe improving certain skills, or are you trying to fight a certain style? Are there certain fights that you want? What I'm alluding to, but also like are you? Because I was talking to Jake Swanson last week about this, and he was saying, I've already fought 2 strikers, and someone that he trains with was saying, look, you can fight. Or he was trying to get matched for a fight, and the guy gave him a striker that was, around the same level. And he's like, well, I don't want to fight a striker again. I want to find a grappler, a really good grappler, because if I just keep fighting strikers, I'm not going to be really tested in the grappling aspect, because his last 2 fights, he really dominated in the grappling realm of his fights. So he's like, I need you to give me a talented, really strong grappler, because I don't want to just fight strikers, because I won't get the full package. I want to be able to be balanced. So how do you guys feel about that? Do you guys kind of like seeing like an opponent that can help better yourself if they have like a certain expertise in a certain martial art?
You go ahead.
All I'll say is I think it's very admirable. Jake is his name. I feel like want to fight whoever is better in either style, but especially in the game now, it's like you have to fight. If they give you a fight and it makes sense for you, and you've been fighting strikers and finishing them or beating them, you got to take what they give you at some point. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, when you're dealing with limited promotions, I see that aspect. But I know he was, what was the name of the guy? You guys might know him. Someone told him that, like, you can do that. You just need to make sure that you mix it up, because if you just consistently, because he's amateur, he's only 2 fights in his amateur career, because he's not pro. He's not.
Well, that's different to understand. I'll take back my statement just a little bit. Then, take who they give you, but if you're an amateur, just
kind of
diversify, progress yourself. Hey, go do a jiu-jitsu tournament.
Yeah, because it's good to balance it up early on, because you're not really amateur. You gotta have your time to just figure it out, and you want to figure it out with different people. Okay, if you go up against a grappling guy and you struggle, okay, I struggle with this. Now I need to work on this in the next fight. I think he's trying to assess his game a good bit, and he's got a great camp out there training under Frank Mullis. I don't know if you heard of him. He's trained with under Matt Serra, got a black belt under him. So he's got a lot of good guys coaching him out there in Milledgeville. Martial arts, also trained jiu-jitsu there. Just started recently. Yeah. It's fun, man. It's a workout. I like it. I certainly want to just be casual with it. Obviously I want to learn. I don't want to be a 10-year white belt or anything. I'm not looking to be like a crazy competitor. I kind of like it for the workout. Mental is very good for my mental state, I feel, because getting a good workout and going through a little bit of adversity, like at the end of the day and leading into the night, you're just not sitting at home thinking about stuff. Everyone's got like their own stuff, mental demons you got to deal with. I feel like being jiu-jitsu, it's like you just roll on a guy that's bigger than you. You're just like, okay, that's much harder than what I've really got going on. I got a real obstacle in front of me right now. And when I go there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever, Monday class is there, it's gi, and it's 3 hours, and it's usually never anyone there when I'm there. So it's like I'm rolling with like the black and blues, and it's like, oh, it's rough, but it's like at the end of it, you're like, I'm tired, but I'm definitely not going to end up in that position again, because I'm going to get screwed up. I think jiu-jitsu is really about you find out, you'll find out quick. You'll end up in positions and they won't feel good, and then you're like, I don't want to ever feel like that again. And that happened to me like my first day, my second day, my third day. I bruised my rib first day in. I was rolling with a guy in the gym there. He's like 200 pounds, so it's like, and I'm a slim guy, so I literally took 2 weeks off just to let that heal up, because when I was breathing in, it was like sharp pain, but then I went straight back to it after it healed up. I was still going to class even when I couldn't train, just to watch, because I love the sport so much, and I don't want to seem as the guy that just showed up for a day and then quit. I showed them that I still cared, and was attempting to show up as much as I could. But no, I like it, man, and it's something that's just fun, just to wrestle around, growing up as a young man, you just want to wrestle with your friends and just get that energy out. That's how it is for me, and it's and you're learning a little bit along the way too. You just learn a little bit here and there, and you have a little bit more than the average citizen, So you have something, and the people too. The people are good. I feel like I've never, obviously there's not a million perfect gyms in the world. There's always going to be your bad apples, but ever since I've walked into any of the jiu-jitsu gyms I've been to, I've just met great people. Great people. great community, always uplifting, never, always willing to just like, help out whenever, and, don't look down on anybody. It's a great community, and that goes a long way. And I feel like the fight community, fight business in and of itself can be rough, gritty, dirty, promotions, whatever. Yeah. But when you get to the community, certain places, there's a tight bond, I feel, with a lot of these guys, especially Middle Georgia, a lot of other places like, Mama Martial Arts Sale, they build like kind of like a family there, Yeah. And I like that kind of vibe. Going to the gym, seeing the same guys, just talking, chatting it up. And giving knowledge, it's a good vibe. And I even if it's just one day a week, you're doing it. And even if you're just some regular Joe and you're only I feel like if you train long enough, you get into it enough, I think you can get promoted as long as you have the right people under you, and you're not just stagnant and staying in the same spot. But no, I love it, man. And for the longest time, I wasn't doing anything. I was a spectator. Okay. And
so to give you something to dabble in.
Yeah. And I was like, I want to I want to get in the commentary booth, and that day will come when it comes. But I want to have a little knowledge of the martial arts, so I'm not up there as just your regular guy. Yeah. I understand positions. Understand. How it feels when a guy's on top of you. It doesn't feel good, when they're putting pressure on your stomach. Like, people don't understand. Like, they're like, just stand up, right? No, you don't just stand up. You got 100-something plus 200 pounds on you. It's not that easy, man. It's just explaining what it's like to an audience. And I've always wanted to improve my skills in that light. So I'm hoping that this does that. And, Frank Mullis out there, he's a great instructor. They got some good black belts under him as well. And he's so well connected in the jiu-jitsu community. He's got pictures on the wall with Stephen Wonderboy, All Joe Rogan. He's been in this community for a long time. You'll see pictures of him with grainy old pictures of him in gyms, training and stuff. Like, this guy has been through it. He has so much knowledge, and when you have a guy like that running a gym and instructing, you're gonna get something from it. You're gonna learn something from these guys. It's something I've enjoyed, just only being a month and a half in, Okay. So at least one day a week for me, at least. The gi days are I like gi. Honestly, I'm starting to like gi more than no gi, because I'm not like a. Because I like any advantage I can get, right? Because I'm just an average guy. So I like being able to pull the collar a little bit, where a no-gi, a little bit more athletic person's going to have a much more advantage over me. So that's kind of where I like gi more, which I didn't think I would. Because seeing it from the outside, it's like, gotta wear the outfit, and, but I actually kind of like putting on the belt. It's fun, man.
Yeah. Shout out to jiu-jitsu. We both just rolled today.
Y'all roll today?
Yeah,
do no-gi?
I rolled like 6 a.m. this morning, but he rolled today.
Nice. So is this place open that early?
Nah, we have like an affiliate under Jucal, but like an ATT affiliate, Superfly. They do like a coffee class, like an early morning class.
Nice. Yeah. Early morning jiu-jitsu. There's a lot of
comp class, like killers in the morning early. Like, first thing, it's crazy.
Yeah. So how far along are you on your BJJ journey, both you guys?
I've only been training and doing MMA for 4 years, and I'm a blue belt right now. But I don't put the gi on.
We top black belts all the time, guys. So I'm not gonna do this jiu-jitsu promotion alternation. But me's gonna lie and try to be humble. We're whatever belt we feel like putting on that day. We top a lot of black belts all the time.
What's your go-to choke? What's your go-to
backpack? Bimmy loves rear naked chokes. If you let me take your back, and especially if I don't know you and you just come into training and stuff like that, I'm gonna practice. You know what I'm saying? If you're my teammate, I'm gonna chill a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to mess up your jaw and stuff like that. But if I don't know you, that's practice time. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Someone got a blue belt, got a face crank on me. I remember. He had me like this, and I just remember everything right here just popping, and I was like, it doesn't hurt, but I know it probably will if I don't tap. So I'm like, because then I got out of it, I'm like, okay, he did some chiropractor stuff, because my neck surprisingly doesn't hurt, but he popped a lot of bones right there, and I'm like, oh snap, I gotta tap.
Wait, so I got a question then. Is Backpack Bimmy back next fight? Because do you have a fight right now?
Let's. What fights? What do you guys got planned? When do you guys plan to fight next?
I'm trying to fight in July. I have nothing planned in July though. The thing is, people are asking me if Backpack Bimmy's coming back. I'm not sure. The goal is to dominate and finish. So the thing is, if it presents itself, I'll go for it. But if I can punch you in your face right there, now on, I'm not searching for the back. That's one of my split decision losses. I was searching for the backpack Bimmy the whole fight. I'm taking this guy's back, and instead of doing damage, I'm searching for a rear naked choke. So in the judge's eyes, all I'm doing is just touching his neck and just setting things up. I'm not causing damage. And then the goal is to cause damage in these fights now, because control time doesn't mean nothing nowadays. It's starting to mean nothing at all. Like, people just seeing you lay on top of the guy now. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not causing damage, you're not winning. So that guy got to get a free win off of me, even though I was taking his back, taking him down, had more takedowns than him, more control time. But due to time, when he got a takedown, he caused damage for that last minute in the round. So they gave him that round. So it's like stuff like that. So you got to cause damage. So the goal is to just finish, man.
So, pause. Yeah. If the goal is to just, put hands on people, I don't know about that other one. You're just talking about, who you thinking, bro?
All right, so right now, the person I'm thinking right now is Dalton Goins. You know what I'm saying? He's 6-2. I think the guy from Tennessee, I think it'll be a good fight for me. He's higher than me on the rankings. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't fought nobody, and he even fought a guy named Kiera West. No disrespect to Kiera West. He fought him 2 times as a professional. Hold on, so I'm sorry. Hold on.
Wow. Just so y'all know what I was showing Bimmy right here. This is the guy that he was talking about, asking for top tier advice.
Exactly. And the thing is, bro, like like I'm saying, he fought a guy named Kiera West who was probably like 4-13 as an amateur. Nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? You got to get better some way, somehow. But 4-13 as an amateur, he fought him 2 times as a pro. Why? Why did you do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I have so many questions, bro. And then it's like he said that he's not on my level. He's better than me. Sir, sign a contract. I have so many screenshots where you declining the fights, but when it's time to show it in front of everybody and talk in front of everybody on social media, you're better and higher level. Just sign the contract. We'll find out.
Guys, this is where we go back to saying, who are you fighting? You can search for these, and this is, I'm glad Bimmy said this, because we don't just like call out guys. Like, we never call out guys and they're just like, oh, I want to fight you, da, 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 rah, 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 like posting stuff on social media. And a lot of guys come out our gym, a lot of guys that fight out of here, but it's all about who are you fighting. In Tennessee, you can fight whoever you're fighting, but you're still 0-0 in our eyes.
Exactly.
So,
And I'm not just calling people out like I'm some big guy or something. I have turned people down myself, you know what I'm saying? Because it didn't make sense. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's not the right fight for me at that time, period. I'm not scaring nobody or nothing like that. But the thing with this guy is that I just feel like I can just beat him, you know what I'm saying? I feel like this would be a great fight for both of us, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to find out who's the better fighter. All we got to do is sign the contract. Dalton Goins.
We can see that in NFC.
Lane going, sign the contract. That's what I was just about to say. Hey, we put Jesse Wabel on notice, man. Send the contract.
NFC.
That guy just fought. He should be fine.
But
victory tour. Don't be drinking too many beers.
Right. He just fought, but he's still not gonna sign the contract. You know what I'm saying? Jesse already asked him. Jesse told me he don't even respond when my name come in his message. So that's the only thing I can say, man.
All right.
Come on.
You heard it here first.
Dalton Goins. Bimmy want the smoke.
Right.
You heard it here
Go
first.
ahead. I really don't have nobody else in my mind. I mean, if I want to stay in Georgia, who else I would fight? Josh Kosher. My boy want to take that down. No Diddy. No Diddy. But there's nobody else like just in my head, like really just like lingering, like, yeah, I gotta fight that guy right now, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, Dalton Goins, come on, go ahead and sign the contract.
It's a competitive division, 135.
Yeah, 135. We could fight in Georgia for NFC. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? You already been here, so come on back.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna leave it at that. Thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate it. Got a great one in here today. Thank you guys for letting me sit up here at ATT Lima. Shout out to ATT Lima. Thank you guys.
Hey, shout out to my sponsors, Handy Electrician and Get Fit With Me. Yes, sir.
Yeah, shout out to all my sponsors as well: Coastal Green Wellness and CBD, Barber Orthopedics, Triad Mechanical. That's both of our sponsors.
Yeah.
Bimmy just forgot a little bit. Those are both of our sponsors, team sponsors. They're great for us. Also, shout out to the law office of Leonard T. Mathis, and just see us rise, guys. Keep watching us. We're coming up soon, Southeast and more nationwide. Dana White's Contender Series, UFC, One Championship, PFL. Look out, next 2 years we coming.
Yes, sir.
You heard it here first at Lunar Visuals MMA, signing off.